Sony Alpha Rumors has brand new details, the announcement date, and pricing on the high-end a6700, which is to be announced in 2 weeks. However, many of the previous leaks from Sony Alpha Rumors on the a6700 have been walked back today, instead giving us vague capabilities of how the a6700 will be better than the competition. So stick around after this short break for all the details. But first, please do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, but most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything and really does help this channel grow. Sony Alpha Rumors has been doing a great job of covering the rumors for the upcoming high-end a6700. Initially, the a6700 was supposed to have the exact same sensor as the FX30 at 26 megapixel sensor. It was supposed to have 7 stops of IBIS, be capable of 6K video at 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. And 4K 120, well, it was supposed to be able to do that, but with a 1.19 times crop. And all these specs are rather detailed for something that's supposed to be a wild and crazy rumor. At least that's not what it was put out as before. It was coming from multiple sources. And the size and dimensions of this camera, the a6700, was supposed to be slightly larger. Interesting, by about 3 or 4 millimeters. And the pricing, well, the pricing, and this had many of you thinking, there's no way it's going to cost $1,999. And yeah, apparently that's not going to be the case. So let's take a look at the new specifications according to Sony Alpha Rumors. Now, this was put out earlier today in a video where Andrea talks about how previous rumored specifications were wild rumors and, well, can't really be trusted. So let's get to the first batch of specifications for the camera. Now, it is definitely going to be called the a6700. It is a high-end APS-C camera. It's going to be announced on July the 12th. Now, I don't know if this is going to be 11 p.m. July the 12th local time in Japan, or if it's going to be 10 a.m. July the 12th here in North America. I just don't know that yet, but July the 12th is the date. We should have more specifications as we get closer to that date. And in terms of IBIS, it is supposed to have better image stabilization, but there's no mention as to whether it's going to be 7 stops or not. But one thing that Andrea talks about in his recent post is that coming from a known and trusted source, so all this information is coming from a known and trusted source, somebody who's got firsthand experience with the camera, is that the Sony a6700, this new high-end APS-C camera from Sony that has very similar capabilities to the FX30, at least that's what previous posts have told us, it's going to be better than the Fuji X-T5. Now, the X-T5 is a pretty decent camera. Now, when it comes to stills, it's an amazing camera, but the video specs, well, I don't know. Is it just me, or I kind of prefer the X-T4 as a videographer? But according to this source, that the Sony a6700 is going to be better than the X-T5. Now, when it comes to image stabilization, yes, it's going to be better. And I'd like to see that, because I think when it comes to Canon and others, well, Sony's image stabilization works and doesn't deliver any wobble like it does on the Canon EOS R5. It's not as capable. It doesn't offer as much stabilization. Certainly not as much as Canon, and certainly not as much as Lumix. It's also supposed to have better dynamic range than the X-T5. Now, I don't know if this is a half stop, 1 stop, 3 stops, but anytime we can improve dynamic range or low light performance, well, you've got my vote. And in terms of the autofocus system, well, no surprises here. It's supposed to be better than Fuji. It's likely going to have that AI chip, the one that came out, that debuted with the Sony a7R5, a camera that supposedly significantly improved the autofocus capabilities. So the autofocus capabilities of the a6700 are supposed to be significantly better than the X-T5. So better image quality, better autofocus system, better, well, stabilization, better everything than the X-T5. Well, what about price? When Sony Rumors first mentioned a price of $1,999, you told me that, yeah, there's no way, it doesn't make any sense. How could they sell the a6700, a high-end APS-C camera, for more than the Sony FX30 when at the time the specs were being compared to and saying that they're pretty much the same as the FX30? Well, the good news is, according to the source from Sony Alpha Rumors, Sony a6700 is supposed to cost less than the X-T5. And the X-T5 currently sells for $1,699. So less, does that mean $1,599, $1,499, $1,399? Well, I'm willing to place my bet somewhere between $13 and $15.99. What do you think the price is going to be of this camera, the a6700? And if you're interested in pre-ordering the Sony a6700, I've already got the smart pre-order links. You might be wondering, Simon, how could you have the smart pre-order links? We don't even have the list of specifications. All we have is a vague date of July the 12th. We don't know a lot about this camera. How could you possibly have smart pre-order links? Well, these smart pre-order links only work for Adorama and B&H. And what they're designed to do is on the day of announcement, once the embargo's lifted, once the pre-order's available, it's going to list every single SKU for B&H and Adorama. So that means body alone, body with kit. Maybe there's multiple kits, or even if B&H and Adorama have their own SKUs or their own packages. So it's going to list all of them. So go ahead and take this link for B&H or Adorama, bookmark it, and then that way, once we get the announcement, as Sony's giving us their announcement, click refresh, and what it's going to essentially do is save you anywhere from 3 to 10 seconds so that you can pre-order the camera ahead of others and just get further up in the queue. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news and rumors, specifically regarding the Sony a6700, well then go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you also choose all notifications. And if you want to stay up to date on all the minor news and rumors, such as, or even pricing discounts, all those news stories that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, well then go ahead and follow me on Twitter. And as far as pricing discounts go, there aren't a whole lot of pricing discounts for Sony right now, but Canon across the board, almost every camera's on sale, including, well, a camera that was just recently announced last year, the R10. It's $100 off. We're seeing $500 off the Canon EOS R5, and that includes a free $350 valued battery grip, the BGR10 or the BGR1 for $33.99. We're seeing Panasonic on sale, the S1H Mark II, $500 off. We're seeing the Nikon Z6 Mark II, Z7 Mark II, $300 and $400 off respectively. There's so many deals across so many bodies, I can't mention them all, including lenses. And surprisingly, it's only Sony that doesn't have a whole lot of sales on right now. But at least we've got a new camera coming out. It's been awfully quiet from Sony, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the actual specifications are for this camera. So don't forget my my pre-order links, my smart pre-order links for the a6700. We should be getting some more news later this week, and then probably quiet over the weekend before things start ramping up next week, the week before the announcement. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.